Pill Sports Entertainment Show. In this morsel, we're going to be talking about the NFL playoffs and the Wildcard weekend. We're going to make our picks, and as usual, it is brought to you by Open Source Self-Defense, Fitness, and Grappling. So with that, let's get kicked off into the NFL Wildcard weekend. Alright guys, so in the first round, wildcard round, first game we're going to look at is the Colts versus the Texans. Now, I'm not going to be like some of these talking head, football analysis guys that basically fluff up things and have other people go look at things and bring them back data and pretend like I actually watched a bunch of AFC football and a bunch of Texans football. I did not, okay? I've been paying attention to the Colts a little bit because I do like Andrew Luck as a player. I think he's a good guy, and I really was hoping for, him to turn it around and make a good comeback. So, all that being said, I'm going to be looking at this from the point of view of more of a Colts fan than a Houston Texans fan, and basically it comes down to, I think the Colts are hot, they're streaking, I think that they will continue that pace, and I see them beating Houston in that opening wildcard round. Next on our list is the Philadelphia Eagles matched up against the Chicago Bears. Now, I do watch quite a bit of NFC football because my favorite team is in that particular conference, and also in the NFC East, so I've watched a lot of Eagles football. I've been keeping an eye on the Chicago Bears, mostly because I like their formula, I like how they win, and also I have an uncle from Chicago, and his sons are big Chicago Bear fans. So basically, here's the deal. When it comes down to it, it comes down to playoff experience. The Eagles have it, Chicago doesn't. I don't know that I trust Trubisky just yet. Foles, has shown that he can be clutch, so I'm going to pick the Eagles. I'm not going to lie, part of the reasons why I'm going with the Eagles over the Bears as well is also because it does give my Cowboys a shot to go to LA, and it does send the Eagles to New Orleans to face Breeze. And next on our list, we have San Diego Chargers versus the Baltimore Ravens. Now, again, I didn't watch a lot of AFC football, but I did pay attention once Lamar Jackson got inserted into the lineup, mostly because I was just interested in seeing how he would do. Now, I'm a little disappointed because I kind of was hoping they would run a more traditional type of offense so that we could see just how well he translated as a more traditional quarterback. Personally, although I think it's good for their success and it's good to get them some confidence to run a lot of RPOs and a lot of run plays for these big athletic quarterbacks that are finding success, I think that long term it's not a sustainable offense for them just because of the beating that they'll take. Now, that being said, you basically have two trains of thought here. The first train of thought says that there's just not enough tape. San Diego is not going to be able to be ready to face Baltimore when it comes to stopping Jackson. Now, the other train of thought is that it's the second time they're facing this team. It's the second time they're facing Jackson. This means that the defense is going to be much more well prepared to face him. Nothing's going to come as a surprise. His speed won't come as a surprise. His accuracy won't come as a surprise. The things that his tendencies that he likes to do, the familiarity will be there. Now, it's my opinion that that is actually a true, fact when it comes to the NFL. We see it all the time. It's really, really hard to sweep teams. It's really, really hard to beat a team 3 times in a year if you happen to play them in the playoffs. So, because of that, when it comes down to it, I think it's going to come down to crunch time. I trust Rivers more so than I trust Jackson. So I have the San Diego Chargers winning and moving on to the divisional round. And next, we have my Dallas Cowboys hosting the Seattle Seahawks. Now, there's a lot of things that we can go back and forth on here, but I think pretty much the conventional wisdom is that the Dallas Cowboys, position for position, are a better team than the Seattle Seahawks except for the quarterback position. Basically, Russell Wilson is a more highly regarded quarterback than Dak Prescott. I would pretty much agree with that analysis. The other part is that, you know, the head coaching position, Jason Garrett just is not as good of a coach as Pete Carroll. Now, that part I disagree with. I don't think that that's an actual true statement. I really feel like Jason Garrett is the most underrated, most unjustly maligned head coach in the NFL. But basically, what people are saying is that comes down to Wilson versus Dak Prescott. Now, I'm going to come out. Here we go, guys. You don't hear this from many people. I may have been wrong about Dak Prescott. Okay? I am open to the idea that I may have been wrong about Dak Prescott and that maybe he is the future of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, let me tell you why. Okay? When I watched that game against the Giants, it really opened my eyes to the things that Dak Prescott can do, okay, what he is possibly capable of. And it made me look a little bit deeper. One of the biggest things that Dak was or has been criticized for is for his accuracy on deep balls. That means, balls deeper than 20 yards. So what I did was I looked at his situational stats. Now, up until the middle of the year or so, right before they got Amari Cooper, his situational stats at balls deeper than 21 yards were horrible. They were horrendous and showing a downward trend in his career. Okay? I was not happy about that. I think that most Cowboy fans were not happy about that. But since he's gotten Amari Cooper, his numbers have really, really turned around. Now, here's the thing, guys. If we take a look at his numbers versus Russell Wilson's numbers for this season, it's eye-opening to see that Dak Prescott actually has more attempts and more completions for balls over 20 yards. He also has a higher rating for balls over 31 yards. And he has a higher rating for balls over 20 yards, 20 to 30 yard range. So he's really not that much worse of a quarterback than Russell Wilson. The place that he is struggling is in TDs. The place that he is struggling is in lost fumbles. But it's also interesting to note that if you look at Dak's numbers compared to Wilson's numbers when he won the Super Bowl, he has about 6 lost fumbles, Dak does, and Russell Wilson had 5. So while ball security is very, very important, it doesn't seem like it has to be the end-all be-all for your quarterback so long as the fumbles don't come at the wrong time. In this case, in the playoffs. Now, I'm going to basically say this. Dak has me on the fence. He got me on the fence in that last performance against the Giants. If Dak can win against Russell Wilson in a good game, in other words, he has to have a good performance. It can't be the performance he had against the Saints and the defense and Ezekiel Elliott bail him out. But on this stage, if he has a good performance and can win the game, it's really going to help me as a fan anyway shift my perception of Dak Prescott. I still don't think you can pay him more than $25 million. I really think it's 24 or below. I would even argue 22 or below, just because he still isn't at the level that he can make everybody else better. He still needs really effective, really dangerous tools around him. But that being said, I just think that the narrative of Wilson being so much clear-cut better than Prescott is just doesn't hold water. Look at their TDs is 22 to 35, interceptions 8 to 7, yards. Dak has 3,885 yards. Russell Wilson, 3,448 yards. Their rating, 96.9 for Dak, 110.9 for Russell Wilson. Yes, that's a higher quarterback rating, but you also have to look at the number of attempts that Dak has. Dak has a significantly higher number of attempts. If you look at it, breaking it down into the situational stats, you're also going to see that on the opponent's 49 to 20 yard line, that means that you've got the ball between the 20 and 50 and you're trying to cross over and you're trying to get into that red zone. Dak has 151 attempts versus Russell Wilson's 131. Okay, inside the red zone, Dak has 67 attempts, Russell Wilson has 62. Okay, completions are 34 and 35. That's right there. I mean, to say that Wilson is a better quarterback, that might be true, but by the numbers, at least this season, it's splitting hairs. And when you look at what the Cowboys come with on the outside now with Amari Cooper, with the emergence of a tight end, with Zeke in the backfield, not to mention that they have that defense. And I have to believe this second time Dak facing this defense, it's going to be a different game. This is going to be a much different game. It's at Dallas. Remember that during the regular season, they did not have Amari Cooper. Remember that now the Seahawks are missing their heart and soul in the defense. This is going to be a much different game. And I see the Cowboys really putting it on the Seattle Seahawks and making people really change their view and scrambling to the betting windows in Vegas. All right, guys, that's all I got. Remember, be practical, be purposeful, get fit with a purpose.